We do a pregame too. Do we get that?
Nope.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, we can. Be happy to.
Any update on John Runyon and how big is it to, have him back once he does come back?
Yeah, John Runyon's been practicing this week. He's doing well, so should be able to get action this week.
Jim said that, the way that Hayes was playing so well in the first couple games, that maybe there's a little competition at right tackle now, or how does that play?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. It's always competition. Nobody's locked in, but Jalen and Ryan both have done a really good job in their first two outings. So, over at the right tackle spot, Hayes was there for a year. We moved him in spring to left tackle. So he's at a year at right now, a year almost at left. So he's done both. So he's the swing guy in there.
Where do you think his future is? Where do you think his future's at, left or right there? Or is it,
I don't make as big a deal of that as everybody else does. Everybody makes a huge deal of that. I don't. If the right tackle can't protect it, that's just as bad as if the left tackle can't. But I played quarterback, so I don't see it that way. You know what I mean? I see it like, hey. And Ryan's solid, but time will tell. We'll work through that after the John Runyon era. But, John's our left tackle and should be ready to roll.
How's he looking? Is he looking rusty at all, or is he back to?
No, because we've had 2 weeks to kind of work him through, so I think he'll be ready to go. John will be excited to get some action.
When you're weighing whether to play him, what do you look for? I mean, because he was in pregame last week. You guys decided not to play him. What do you like? How do you
Oh,
decide?
yeah, we knew before that.
Oh, you do. Okay.
That was just, he was dressed for emergency, and also to keep the defense at bay. The opponent at bay.
Yeah. As well as Hayes played for you, just how important is it to have two guys with experience that know so well, Bredesen and Runyon, what they're going to do out there?
Well, I think all of this has been good for the development of our group, the confidence of those young guys. I mean, Ben and John were in watching film with me this morning. They were ecstatic about getting the posse back together again, you know what I mean? And so they were watching film with me at 7:30 this morning. And so, I mean, that's always good because that's familiar ground. They've played next to each other for 13 games, and a lot of practices. So they're very comfortable together. And it just gives us more guys that have played, more guys that you feel like you're confident to put in a game. So I think we're in a good place going into Wisconsin up front,
how important is that cohesion when it comes to pass protection?
Well, I think it's just how they communicate up there. I just think confidence in each other, knowing what each other's little, because they can't have sentences and conversations up there. They have little code words and things that we talk through that they use, and everybody's different, but you have those non-verbal and verbal cues with your wife if you've been married a long time, and she knows what you're thinking and you know what she's thinking, and you don't have to say it, and it all takes care of itself. And so I think there's some comfort in that. But I just think that Caesar's the key for our pass protection. I mean, he's the master of that. He directs all the protections, and guys help him, but he's the main orchestrator of that, and he does a phenomenal job at that. I've never been around one better at manipulating protection. So, I mean, when he gets things rolling, we're in good shape.
Ben was talking the other day about him and John basically like having a telepathic connection at this point. How have they developed that? Like, what do you do specifically through the years to like get to a point like that they know what the other one's going to do?
Well, it comes because they know they have to rely on each other for everything on that side. It's like a pilot and a co-pilot, but they're side by side in the meetings. They sit right next to each other in every meeting. They practice next to each other. The things that we do when we work combinations and stuff, they're in combination blocks together. They're on the same side in the protections. So their whole life is intertwined, 4 hours a day or whatever they hang out off the field. And so I think that just trust and confidence, and, they had a good run together last year, and I think they're excited about getting that rolling again.
What have you seen from Wisconsin's front that's similar to last year and different? Are they schematically, are they pretty similar?
Yeah, they haven't changed their overall schematic structure. They're just playing at a very high level. They know who they are. They know who they want to be. They're physical. I mean, they lose good players, but they replace them with good players. You know, the two teams that they've played are different than us. So, you know, you still aren't sure everything they might do, but they know who they are, and they play a brand of football that suits their players and the mentality of their program. And they're very, very good on defense. I mean, statistically, obviously, they're tops in the country in all these categories. And, I mean, you see that on film. They're playing at a high, high level.
Some penalties in the Army game. I think Bredesen had a couple, and Caesar. How do you?
Yeah, Ben had one, and C's had a couple. I mean, you know, just communication with the quarterback and the cadences, you know what I mean? And just got to sit in there and be a little bit more poised when, you know, noise, communication, things like that, you know, going fast. One time Caesar didn't hear what the cadence was and assumed it was on something that it wasn't. The other time Ben just moved when the defense moved. And so just, you know, a couple little flinches in there. Not happy about that. So, you know, that's been a big emphasis of trying to eliminate that.
Is that a function of the new offense? I mean, of getting things worked out, getting it cohesive?
Yeah, there's no blame other than just, you know, the players doing it just have to be locked in more about that part of it, you know.
Ben talked about the crowd noise thing too, especially at Wisconsin. How do you get them prepared for that in practice?
We've been practicing noise, you know. We go in the indoor and turn the noise up and practice and make it loud in there. And we have our system of communicating silently, you know, that we have to utilize. So that's a loud place, a big place. They have a nice home field crowd and so forth. So that'll be one of the challenges is going on the road. In the one end, you know, one end zone, it's really loud where the students are.
Is Jalen healthy, and how much are Ryan and Jalen battling at right tackle now?
Oh yeah, everybody, our, excuse me, 5 starters and are all healthy, and then Jalen's healthy. Yeah, everybody's full go practice yesterday.
You had suggested before the season that you, with Stuber and Mayfield, you would maybe 60-40 give them snaps. Would you do the same with Hayes?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we could. Yeah, no, there's nothing that would keep me from playing Ryan Hayes. Yeah.
So you could, or you will?
We haven't made all those decisions yet. Sometimes you see how it's going, you know, but I think you'll probably see them both play.
And is Ryan ahead of maybe where you guys thought he might be after?
Yes.
I mean, how far ahead would you say?
I liked his trajectory. It really, though, in the end of spring, his trajectory took off, and I thought, we got something here. And I didn't think we'd have to count on him to be a major player with the fact that we had Mayfield and Stuber and Runyon, and I thought he would be the 4th guy and that he might not have to play much. And then all of a sudden, things happen, and you're down 2 guys, and the next thing you know, you call the next man up and he gets his job done and plays at a high level. But we saw things in spring and in fall that led a training camp that led us to believe that he was headed on a trajectory where he was going to be what we thought when he was recruited here, you know.
And you knew when you got him that he was athletically, there was a future there. It was just going to.
Oh yeah. He's really athletic in space and running around, and he has all the physical traits you want, you know. Still could be, you know, he's not gigantic in terms of weight and strength. He could be, you know, still develop there, which he will. But, I mean, I think he came in at 255 and he's playing at 295. So in 13, 14 months, he went from a tight end at Traverse City West to the starting left tackle at Michigan. So he's going like this pretty high.
You mentioned his trajectory taking off in the spring. What do you think happened?
What's that?
What do you think happened at the end of spring that kind of?
I just think being at the position for a while, I mean, playing tight end and running routes is not like playing O-line and playing O-line at Michigan. And, you know, so just learning and high repetition of the techniques and the calls and the job description and the work ethic and the culture and all that, because that's different. I mean, being a grinder offensive lineman is different than being a skill guy. That's a whole different culture, a whole different way of life, a whole different way of practicing. And, you know, so I think it just took time. It just took time for him to get comfortable with that and get confident. The biggest thing for most of these guys when they're athletic is just confidence. what am I supposed to do? How am I supposed to do it? And if I know what I'm supposed to do and how I'm supposed to do it, then I can start doing it harder and harder and harder, because I'm not thinking about what to do and how to do it. I'm just thinking about, let's get after this guy, and be aggressive. And so once he got real comfortable with who he's blocking, how he's supposed to do it, then, and he just keeps playing harder and harder. And, and he's developed that O-line mentality, that, banging somebody every play.
How do you think having John back will help the offense?
I don't think, I love having John back, and John's valuable to us, but I don't think John not playing had any bearing on the offense or what we did offensively. We didn't change our game plan. We didn't do things differently. We didn't run more to the right than the left. We didn't do any of that. We called our plays and ran our offense. And so I just think that you have a veteran guy, so maybe in the heat of battle on the road, he might be a little more comfortable, but I think it is nice to have a little bit more depth there,
One more on Ryan. A lot of converted tight ends are getting drafted in the first round.
That's why we recruit them.
Yeah, so I guess what's the alert of that, and is that an increasing trend that you're looking for?
Well, it's, the nature of spread offenses and the nature of teams throwing the ball much more. You want long, athletic, angular guys out there on the edge. So the 6'7", 250-pound tight end is a perfect model for becoming a 6'7", 300-pound athletic tackle. And so, I've probably have 3 or 4 guys that played tight end that I've recruited that became offensive linemen, and sometimes they're playing O-line in high school, sometimes they're not, but Ryan was one that I had my eye on before I ever came to Michigan, so.
Is it easier for them to get their footwork down with it being a tight end and moving?
Oh, I think so. I just think they're so athletic, tight ends and running around in space, and because there's a lot of space on the edge in the shotgun and wide defensive ends. There's a lot of space that you got to move around in, and Jalen's very fluid at that, but Ryan is really fluid in space.
From
your
those
point of view-
conversations are going to be kind of tough in recruiting. When you tell a kid, you're not going to catch touchdowns anymore, we're going to make it tougher than others. Some are
sometimes.
easy, some are tough.
Yeah, sometimes they are. I just tell them, look up what they pay left tackles and look up what they pay tight ends. There's a difference, and a valuable O-lineman, they only, 7 O-linemen in the NFL, it's all they carry on a roster. So you better be able to play right tackle and left tackle. So we cross-train them all. That's why John played left tackle last year, but for the first 9 months I was here, he played right tackle every day, and then he played left, and we cross-trained him in between, and then so he'll be good either way when his day comes, and Hayes will be, Mayfield will be, they all will be, because they're all cross-trained, so they can play either side comfortably.
What kind of skill set do you look for in a high school tight end that tells you, oh, this guy can slide over?
Well, just his frame, just looking at his frame and mostly his lower body, like what is he like? Is he like a basketball player lower body, or is he like a guy that's going to be 300 and some pounds? You know what I mean? So you look at them from the waist down, and then just their frame, and evaluate their parents and size of their folks, and just look at what genetics. And then there's some gamble to it. Not everybody can gain 50 pounds and still move, but got a pretty good eye for that. It's a combination of things. And are they aggressive, and are they willing to block in high school? Tight ends that don't want to block anybody in high school, then I'm probably not that interested in them. But if they show the interest in blocking and being physical and playing aggressively, and they have that kind of frame, then that's appealing.
One of the concerns, I think, of the fan base going into this one is Michigan's defensive line against Wisconsin's offensive line. What would you say to kind of reassure people? And then what have you seen from Wisconsin's offensive line over the year that they're just so able to run the ball so effectively?
Well, they have a system offensively. They know what they want to do. They have a big offensive line. They have certain patterns they use, schemes. And they have really good tailback, obviously. We all know that. He's one of the best in the country. And so that combination, and they are committed to running the ball. So when that's what you're committed to doing, and then you have offensive linemen that play hard and are big guys, and a tailback with that skill set, you run the ball. Our defensive line, we go against them every day. They are tough. They practice hard. they're using multiple guys in there, so I think our defensive line will accept that challenge. I think they'll show up. I mean, they make it hard to run the football. So I think it'll be a war up front. I think that, that's going to be an interesting part of the game is winning the line of scrimmage, on both sides of the ball.
So, Ben talked about how he and some of the other offensive linemen, some of the most experienced players on the team, and like they went to Madison 2 years ago and kind of were taking a leadership role in the offense. Have you seen that from them trying to prepare the younger players for that environment?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, obviously Ben is from the state of Wisconsin, so this game has a lot of meaning to him. I mean, he has a lot of people that he knows, friends and people that went to Wisconsin, and he chose not to, and I'm sure he's heard a lot about it from the in-state folks, but he loves Michigan, and he's happy he's here, and so he wants to go out and play well and lead us to victory, and try to be a leader and try to be a team captain like he is, and I think I think he's doing the way Ben works. I think he's trying to let everybody know what you need to do and how you need to win on the road. You got to win the line of scrimmage. You got to take care of the football. And you got to be able to run the ball on the road to win Big Ten games. And so I think Ben knows that, and we know that. And he's got to send in that message. Strap it up. Here we go. It's Big Ten season.
So what specifically are the things that like an offensive line needs to do to do those things on the road?
Well, I just think it's how you prepare. I always think the most prepared team wins, and so our preparation has to be exact. Our preparation has to have a physical nature to it. I mean, without question, we had our best practice yesterday since we started in August, without question. And so that's encouraging because, with the bye week, we had a little extra time to work on those guys, and so I think our guys are very confident in what they're doing, and they're doing it with a great demeanor. And I think you just have to. This is my assignment. This is block out the environment, block out the noise to the best of your ability. This is what I got to do, and I got to do it with a high level of physicality to match Wisconsin's intensity. And high level execution is what we need, and physical play, and 4 quarters of football. And so I think we started that this week with practice yesterday.
Last question. If you got one.
Yeah, it is.
I guess as someone who has coached in the Midwest, coach offensive lines, I guess what do you make of Wisconsin's run? It seems like it's been a few decades since they were weak at offensive line.
Well, I think there's a couple things. I think that's really important to the culture of their program. I think that their in-state recruiting, they're able to recruit a lot of in-state guys that fit that culture offensive line-wise, and so I think they're fully committed to that's the formula. Everybody has a formula for how they want to win games, and the formula in Columbus is different than the formula in Madison, is different than the formula in any other school. They all have their formula, and they think this is their recipe for victory and success. Wisconsin's formula has been recruit a great offensive line, get a great tailback, and let's run the football and control the line of scrimmage. And they believe in that, and they've had a lot of success doing it. And that doesn't devalue how well they played on defense. They played tremendous on defense. It's just that's who their identity is on offense. So that's what they do. They go find linemen and recruit linemen and develop them and develop a running game, and their running game stays pretty consistent year after year as to how they want to block things, and so they know who they are.
Thanks, Coach.